Welcome back to the Aussie Shed, ladies and gentlemen, for the final episode on the rebuild of the 60s GMF vintage bench grinder. My grinding wheels have turned up and I'm very happy. As you can see here, they came with all sorts of plastic spacers for them, which, you know, they're not bad actually. They're probably, both sets of them are a little bit better than some that I've seen, but not a massive fan. I do have the mini lathe here, so it's very simple to just turn out a bush of the right size from a bit of aluminium bar stock offcut that I've got just here in the shed. And even though the spacers are pretty reasonable, it's very easy to just turn out some bushes of the exact right size without all the different, you know, pieces. It just tends to help with the run out on the wheels. So I might head over to the mini lathe and just knock out a couple of bushes. Here we are at the mini lathe, folks. You can see I've got a little bit of aluminium bar stock mounted in there. I've got quite a bit of stick out, so I'm just going to quickly just gently dress up the end, and then I'll throw the tailstock in, drill the center and put some support under it. Here we go. And that looks good enough for the end of a bush. Very nice. Alright, so we need to go in about 50 mil. That'll get me 2 bushes. Well, now the wheels are mounted, one of the last things we need to do is do a bit of cold bluing on these nuts here. So I think I'll just set up to do that. Bit of isopropyl alcohol, folks, just to clean them up with. I find this works pretty well. Alrighty, here we go. We're quickly turning the colour of the glove. Probably could have had a little bit more time on the clean up these things, but I ran them on the wire wheel a couple of weeks ago and thought, they'll be right. I'll just give them a bit of a clean up with some alcohol and they'll be fine. But it looks like I probably should have done them a bit more on the wire wheel. Anyway, not the matter. It's only a bloody grinder. Not the end of the world if they don't look perfect, I would suggest. I'll just lather them up. Alrighty, give that 30 seconds or so and wash her off with a bit of water. Yeah, in the water. So I've just got a bit of a tub of water over here. This is where they're going for a bit of a rinse after that first coat. Give them a bit of a rub over with your fingers. Generally all I do, you can rub them with steel wool and all sorts of things, but I find just giving them a bit of a rub with your gloved hand works pretty well. It gets the sort of residue that you get on the outside of it. It goes sort of like a milky greeny kind of a colour. It comes off just with a rub. I'll just take these over and dry them off with the air compressor now and we'll give them another coat. So that's our first coat. That's how we're looking. And we will give her another one. Well, coat, I wouldn't really call it a coat. First application. And there we have the second pass. Once again, give it a couple of seconds and then we'll rinse it off in the water. And into the water we go. Like I say, I find just a rub with the glove is pretty much all you need to do. You've really just got to get that sort of milky sort of business off there. and that just rubs off real easy. You can see the water's going a bit crap looking, a bit milky now from all the stuff. So we'll just take these over and blow them off. Now that they've had their final coat and their final wash off, I'll just give them an extra final going over. You know, a vat of clean water. And then dry them off and they should be pretty right. So for the final step, folks, I'll just give them a bit of a light rub over with some 3-in-1 oil. And we'll let that sit overnight and sort of soak into the coating. It just gives us a real nice thing. So we'll let those sit overnight, come back to it tomorrow, dry them off with a soft cloth, whack them onto the bench grinder and tighten these wheels down. Rightio folks, it's the next day now. Time to fit the nuts. We'll just give them a little bit of a wipe over, just with our bit of gear. See, they're looking pretty flash, nice and black. Throw that guy on there. Throw this guy on here. So what I'll do now, folks, I'll nip these nuts up and then I'll take the grinder outside, set her up in a corner, turn her on, let it run for 10 minutes. Just make sure that all these wheels are fine. Both these wheels have come in the post, a little bit on the dodgy side. You know, if they've been dropped or whatever, they could have a fracture in them somewhere. So we'll at least leave the machine running for 10 minutes or so, maybe even more, and just to make sure that there are no surprises with exploding wheels when it comes time to use the thing. So I'll nip them up, take it outside, give it a bit of a run, and I'll be back. Alright folks, she's been running for about 20 minutes here outside, no issues at all. It's passed the test with flying colours. So what I might do while I've got it outside here is I might dress these two wheels just to save getting all the bloody dust and crap in the shed. So bear with me and I'll just dress these two wheels up. Even though the wheels are new, it's always a good idea with new wheels to dress them up just to suit your particular installation. They might be, you know, running slightly off center compared to how they were when they were made originally and everything, and it's just always best practice is to make sure you've got everything looking really good. So what I might do, just to so that I know I've gotten everything, is just put some marks on these wheels, just so I know what I'm doing. You know, like most things, it's always good to put a bit of a guide coat on stuff, just so you know where you're at. Alright, that's looking pretty good. It sounds beautiful when it starts up, as you'll be able to tell when I turn it on. There's almost no vibration to it. So far it seems like a really sweet machine. I'll turn her on and I'll dress these wheels up anyway. see how he went. Very nice. No pencil left anywhere. Everything's looking really good. Oh, got a little tiny bit just there by the look of it. Slight little divot. White one's good though, nothing on that. I'll just give the green fella just a little bit more of a hit. Alright, that's looking pretty bloody good, I think. She's all sorted. Alright, I'll clean it up with the air compressor and I'll take it back inside to the bench. Here she is, all nice and clean again. So far everything has turned out really, really good. I'm super happy with this. It is just such a nice little grinder. Turn it on here where it's a bit quieter. It was quite windy when I was filming before outside. And I also had the leg of the tripod resting against the trestle, so it was a bit shaky when the grinder was running, but I'll just start it up in here. It is just such a nice, smooth machine. Quiet, really well balanced, doesn't vibrate around at all. It's just going to be such a pleasure to use. I'm very, very happy with this. So anyone out there, if you come across one of these old GMF grinders, I suggest you pick it up. You definitely won't regret it. Oh, something I didn't go over when I was dressing the wheels is what I was using. I'm just using one of these cheap diamond dressing tools. It's just an eBay thing. They only cost a couple of bucks. Mate, they're bloody fantastic. Previously, this is my old dressing stone. It's a it's sort of a composite stone thing. It works okay, but it's a bit of a pain in the bum. This is much nicer to use than this, and it's also a hell of a lot cheaper. These are reasonably expensive, and these are just super cheap. So I'll throw a bit of a link in the description for these things if you guys would like to just have a look, because believe me, I'll just have a little bit of a rant about this. Guys, dress your bloody grinding wheels. There's nothing worse than going over to a mate's workshop and you go to use his friggin' bench grinder and all the wheels have got like grooves in them, or they're rounded off on the corners, you know, or they're just on an angle. It's just shit. 2 seconds to dress your grinding wheels up, you know, and just keep a nice square edge on them, keep them nice and flat, and you're bloody good to go. It's one of my pet hates is using other people's bloody workshop tools that they don't look after. There's nothing worse than using some bloody piece of shit grinder with a really out of shape wheel on it, when all it takes is 2 seconds with something like this to bring it back to being a nice flat-faced, square-edged wheel that's a pleasure for people to use. Okay, rant over. So that's just about it for the grinder now. I think she's pretty well done, and I'd just like to thank you guys for coming with me on the journey of the... What? What was that? Is there something I've forgotten? What do you mean? The label? The machine tag? Oh shit, hang on. I thought I'd forgotten something. So some of you guys are probably a bit curious how I went with the machine tag, how I was talking myself up, how I reckon I was going to make it myself and all this kind of thing. Well, I did. That's the new one right there. And I'm pretty bloody happy with it. But unfortunately, the machine tag has requested its own video. It doesn't want to share a video with the grinder. It wants its own video. Just because it's sort of a bit of an individual thing, there was a little bit involved in doing it, I promised the machine tag it could have its own video. So if you're interested in how this all panned out with making this new machine tag, and believe me folks, it wasn't that hard to do, I'll leave a link up in this corner that you can click on that'll take you to the video on the machine tag, and I'll also leave a shortcut on the end screen to the video on the machine tag on the end of this grinder video. So if you want to see any more on how this was done, follow the links. It'll be in my video list. Like I say, it will have its own video. So I guess all that's left to do is fit it onto the grinder. I've got some new U-drive pin tag pin thingamabobbies to refit the tag with, so I guess I should just go for it. Once again, for reference, a quick look at the old tag. Quite a difference. Anyhow, let's whack her on. This lower pin, I've had to cut this lower pin down slightly because the old one actually broke off and it was a real bugger. So hopefully there's enough meat on it. Oh, Jesus Christ, I'm bloody belting the shit out of everything. I think it's going to be just fine. And there you have it, folks. It's she's looking pretty flash. That's pretty much the final step in our vintage GMF grinder rebuild. Like I say, overall I'm very, very happy with the grinder. It's such a nice old piece. I'll just turn that light off over the top, see if it helps us a bit here. Alright, that's about the best I can do. Sorry folks, I've just been trying to move this around so I can get a better shot of it without there being heaps of glare on the label. Very hard, like I say, all the lighting's behind me. It sort of sucks a bit, just so you can get a really good look at how the label and everything looks. Super happy with the whole thing, super happy with the grinder. The label turned out fantastic. So yeah, thanks for coming with me on the journey of rebuilding this beautiful old girl. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you guys are tackling a similar thing and there's anything you'd like to ask me, just ask me in the comments section and I'll be happy to answer it. And remember, I'm always doing all sorts of stuff like this here in the Aussie shed. A very big variety of stuff that I do, but I never ever stop. As you're probably aware at the moment, I'm doing a bloody twin turbo car build. I'm rebuilding equipment like this. I'm still doing work on my mini lathe as well. I've got a whole heap of new videos to come out on that. You know, I made a table a few weeks ago, just all sorts of stuff. It just never ends. I just cannot help myself, ladies and gentlemen. Somebody bloody stop me. So anyway, if you like my content, remember like and subscribe. If you want to help support the Aussie Shed, PayPal and Patreon links in the description. And I'll see you on the next one. Cheers.